Recording in progress.
All right, good morning, everyone. My name is Lori Blanton. I work with UC International Services as an assistant director of our student support team. Welcome to our panel information session this morning. We are pleased that you could join us and really excited that you have chosen UC to further your education. Today's session will include both pre-recorded videos and a live panel presentation. Meet the other folks in the room. Katie, would you like to start?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Katie Dockstader. I am a program coordinator here at UC, and we're excited to have you join us.
Kelly?
Hi, my name is Kelly Plazabat. Can you guys hear me? Okay, sorry. My audio kept going in and out and it didn't have the little green box around me. So I was like, I don't know if my speaker's coming through right now, but my name is Kelly Plazabat and I am also a program coordinator in UC International Services. Welcome to our panel and we're excited to share all about our office with you all.
James?
Yeah, and I'm James Tenney. I'm with UC International Services, and I'm very excited that you're here today, and hopefully we can answer some of your questions.
Yeah, so as James has just mentioned, we hope to answer questions this morning regarding your immigration status and your options and rights as an international student in the United States. We hope to connect you to campus and community resources excuse me, that will keep you informed and share some of our event and workshop details with you that will help you thrive at UC and feel a part of our Bearcat family.
So some general reminders for the session today. This is going to be an informational session, and there will be opportunities for you to ask questions. This first section is going to be about 30 minutes. We'll present you with a lot of information, so that's why we're recording it, so you can look at it later. We'll try and keep things engaging with a mix of videos and live conversations, so if there's any technical difficulties, please excuse us as we switch between those different elements. During the informational sessions, you should be muted and your video off. If you have questions, please save them for the question and answer portion we will conduct at the end of the presentation. You can also put them into the chat at any time and we will try and answer them there as well. Very specific and personal questions should be emailed to us. I'm going to put that into the chat now at international.services@uc.edu. If for any reason you get disconnected, like I said, this is being recorded so that you can view these later, and we will be sending out links via the weekly UCI services newsletter. And this will also be going to our YouTube channel, I believe. If you have more questions that you think of after this or that you maybe don't want to ask here today, you can always visit our office. We're open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, or you can email us at the email I just put in the chat. So we are going to go ahead and get started with our first video. Give me a moment to get us there. And Lori, holler at me if something's not playing right when it gets up. One moment, please. Okay.
Welcome to the University of Cincinnati. As an international student, you are a valued member of our global community here at UC. Today, we're going to introduce you to a little bit of your home away from home, UC International. UC International is comprised of 3 units: planning, study abroad, and international services. Everyone is here to help you throughout your educational journey at UC. UC International is on the 7th floor of Edwards Center 1. Whenever you have questions or concerns, you can always find help here.
My name is Ron Cushing, and I'm the director of UC International Services. We are honored that you've decided to pursue your educational objectives with us, and we're going to do everything we can to ensure that your experience here is a positive one. You need to understand that the challenge you are about to embark upon is going to be a difficult one, but it will also be rewarding. Our office is going to help you meet those challenges and obtain those rewards. You should know that you're joining a very large and exciting international community. You're going to be part of more than 3,000 enrolled international students from more than 100 different countries from across the world. UC International Services is responsible for making sure that you understand all the rules and regulations that you need to follow as an international student and providing you with the proper authorizations along the way. While you're studying, you're going to need to travel. Many of you are in programs that involve co-op or capstones that require work assignments during your stay. You may change your degree level or your program of study. Some of you may have dependents who need to come and be with you. There's a whole host of immigration regulations you need to follow, and we're going to make sure you understand those rules and provide you with the proper authorizations. We have highly trained staff who are available to help answer all of your questions, and we encourage you to contact us when you need help. Please make sure you address all immigration and visa questions to our office. Don't ask your friends, don't ask your college advisor or your departmental advisor. Make sure all visa and immigration questions are addressed to our staff. We also provide you with a host of programming activities during your stay here. Certainly during the first few weeks, you're going to be invited to participate in a lot of welcome and arrival activities. And then throughout your stay, we are going to provide you with opportunities to engage in programs that will help you learn about U.S. culture, the university, the city of Cincinnati, and the U.S. in general. I can assure you that the students who take advantage of those opportunities are the students that leave here with the most positive experiences. So please take advantage of those programs when you have the opportunities. So welcome to UC. We look forward to helping you obtain all of your personal and academic objectives.
UC International can help you with immigration advising and student support throughout your degree program. Now, let's check in with some of our international advisors and learn about keeping up to date with your visa. Again, welcome to Cincinnati. We're excited to have you here.
All right, well, I'll take over from here at this point. Again, good morning. My name is James. I'm with UC International Services, and I am an advisor here in our office, and we provide immigration, tax information, counsel, legal counsel of any kind. And so when you speak to one of our international advisors here at UC International, that's where our primary responsibility is going to lay. However, we're here to help you find out where you can get more details of the questions that you may have, whether it's about paying your bill, or where do I find fun stuff to do, or how do I find out who my academic advisor is. We may not have all the details you're looking for, but we should be able to help you figure out where to find that information. I'm so glad that you are coming to UC. Thank you for choosing UC. If at any point you have questions for us, you can always give us a call at our phone number, which is 513-556-4278. Or if you prefer, you can always send us an email at international.services@uc.edu. We also have our website, which is there all the time, and everything that we're going to cover here today is on our website. And so if you ever want to contact us or look up some information, you can always do that as well. We are open here in the office Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we always have an advisor on call throughout that business period. And so if you call us or stop by our office, there'll be someone here to answer your immigration questions. And so, take advantage of that as well. We are not open on Saturdays and Sundays. We are not open during national holidays. And we are also closed if there's inclement weather, which happens sometimes, whether it's too much snow or maybe there's something going on outside that we need to go home for. You will find that most of our services begin with our system called Icats Global. This is the system you've been using so far to obtain your I-20, so you can then apply for your visa and come join us here. So far, you've been using the new student login in Icats Global, which asks for things like your UC ID number, which begins with a letter M, a certain PIN number only available for Icats Global, as well as your date of birth. You'll continue to use the new student login option as you get ready to start classes here. The most important thing before you start classes after you arrive in the US is to make sure you do go back into Icats Global using the new student login and complete the check-in e-form. It's very important that check-in e-form is completed. That is what we are going to use to tell the Immigration Service that you not only arrived in the US, but you turned up for classes. And so if you don't fill in the check-in e-form, we're gonna have to tell the government you're not here. And if you're not here, you're gonna have to go home. So don't forget, if you haven't done that yet, you're safe, it's all good. You've got a few days yet, but log in using the new student login at Icats Global, your UCID number, PIN, and date of birth, and go ahead and do the check-in e-form so we can make sure you can stay here to continue your classes. Also keep in mind that while you're here throughout the years pursuing your degree and beyond, we do need to make sure your information is up to date in Icats Global. Most of the time, if you just make sure your information is up to date in Catalyst, which is another UC system here, that will feed into our system called Icats Global, and in turn, we will let the Immigration Service know that everything is good. When you go to Catalyst, there's an option there for mailing address and permanent address. We need you to fill in the mailing address portion with your US address. That's very important. Your permanent address can be your address overseas, but the mailing address in Catalyst must be your current US address. And so again, don't forget that after you arrive in the US, complete the check-in e-form, begin your classes. After you begin your classes, when you log into Icats Global, at that point, you'll use the current student login. And the current student login will ask you for the very traditional UC username as well as the UC password. And this is the same UC username and password that you use for your UC email account. So after you begin classes, you can then start using Icats Global using the current student login. Now, we're going to cover some immigration rules, and keep in mind these can change at any time, but I'll explain how you can keep up to date with those. First of all, you're here to be a student, and so we need to make sure that you're enrolled full-time in classes for the summer semester and beyond. Full-time enrollment for undergraduate students is 12 credit hours. For graduate students, the full-time enrollment requirement is 10 credit hours. Now, you can enroll for online courses, but only 3 credit hours of online courses will count towards that full-time enrollment requirement. And so keep that in mind, that if you are going to be taking some online classes, that's fine, but make sure that you are enrolled full-time for those in-person classes as well. If at some point during your college career, you're struggling with something, maybe academically, or you have a health issue, and you cannot be enrolled full-time for whatever reason, the Immigration Service will allow you to drop below full-time depending on what that reason is. In Icats Global, there's an e-form called Reduced Course Load. Take a look at that if you are struggling for some reason, or give us a call and we can talk to you about what is going on and see if we can grant you permission to drop below full-time. But the permission to drop below full-time, the Reduced Course Load e-form, must be approved before you drop below full-time. If you drop below full-time before doing the reduced course load, then you've put yourself illegally here in the US, and that's bad news. So always contact us before you decide you need to try to drop below full-time. Now, each of you has an I-20. This is the document that we sent to you to help you apply for an F1 student visa. Some of you may be here as J1s, and so you have something called a DS 2019. But the main thing to keep in mind is the I-20 or the DS 2019 must remain accurate pertaining to what it is you're doing here in the US. Are you pursuing a master's degree in civil engineering? Then that will be listed on your I-20 or DS 2019. If you're changing majors, changing degree programs, changing schools, you're going to need a new I-20 to be updated with these details. And so if you're thinking about making some changes to your academic plan, let us know. We have some e-forms in Icats Global. You can talk to one of our advisors and we'll assist you in the process of figuring out how to get that done so your I-20 remains up to date. Very important to remember is that each of you has an expiration date or a program end date on your documents, the I-20 or the DS 2019. Please do not let this expire. If you do need more time academically, come see us before it expires so we can extend your documents. The I-20 is your permission to remain in the US and is only valid as your permission to remain in the US, as long as all the details on there are accurate. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, what about my visa stamp and my passport? Well, the visa stamp in your passport isn't your permission to be in the US. And so that is allowed to expire while you're here in the US. It's only important if you're outside the US trying to get into the US. At that point, the visa stamp does need to be valid. Now, visa stamps are only issued at US embassies overseas. We can't extend those here. But again, you don't have to extend it while you're here in the US. And so if you have a PhD I-20 good for 6 years, but your visa stamp is only good for 1 year, that's okay. You know, as long as you maintain your I-20 and you're maintaining your immigration status, that visa stamp can expire. But if you do decide to make a trip at some point overseas and you want to come back as a F1 student, then yeah, you will have to spend some time at an embassy to get that stamp renewed before making a new entry into the US. Now, we talked about travel. One of the things you'll need on your I-20 is a travel signature on page 2. Right now, all of you have I-20s which have no travel signatures on there because this is your first time coming to the US possibly, or your first time transferring to UC from another US school. So there is no travel signature on page 2 of your I-20. But you can apply for one of these through Icats Global. When you do have some travel plans for maybe next summer or this winter break or whatever you're going to do, everything in Icats Global and our processes here at UC International take 5 business days. That's Monday through Friday. And so if you submit the request on a Friday, it's not going to be ready on a Monday. It may take a few extra days. So plan ahead. If you have an emergency trip, let us know. We can help you with that as well. So you can get home quickly if there's a true emergency going on. Some of you may be interested in working on campus. Certainly you can do that immediately after you've checked in through the Icats Global system. And so if you want to work on campus, and there's lots of jobs here typically, you can work up to 20 hours per week while classes are in session in the fall and spring semesters. And you can work more than 20 hours per week on campus during official breaks and vacation periods like spring break, winter break, and for some of you for next year, maybe even summer semester. After you find a job, let us know, and we'll walk you through the process of getting everything processed so you can get your work authorization for the on-campus employment approved. And if you need what's called a Social Security number, which is a US tax ID number, we'll help you apply for that Social Security number as well. Some of you may have heard about some forms of off-campus work authorization called optional practical training or curricular practical training, or simply OPT or CPT. These are forms of off-campus work permits that you can eventually apply for. It's a little early to be too interested in those things because you don't qualify for those until you've been here for at least 1 academic year. But certainly if you're looking for internships or co-ops sometime next year, there are some form of off-campus work permits that you can explore in order to take advantage of those experiences. And so go to our website and take a good look at those things so you are prepared for when you're ready to apply for those work permits. Taxes can be a very complicated topic even for Americans, and we try to make it as simple as possible for international students. The basic thing you need to know right now is that every year that you're physically present in the US, there will be a tax report, which we call a tax return, that has to be returned to the US government to state how much you were paid, how much you were taxed, and how much you should have been taxed. We provide software and help with this every year. We just finished this year's tax season last April, and so you don't have to worry about that for another whole year yet. And so in February or March of next year, we'll send out an email to you to remind you about doing that tax report. So don't worry about that right now. Now, finally, any of these rules and regulations and processes can change at any given time, from the Immigration Service to the tax service, UC policy. So I know it can be very confusing, and you're here to focus on your degree, and we certainly appreciate that that's what you're wanting to do. And our job is to make sure that we do advise you of anything that's going on in the immigration world or tax world. And so it's very important that you read our weekly newsletter that goes out to all our international students and scholars. And if you have dependents, spouses or children, we have an email that goes out to them specifically for details about stuff we're doing for them as well. be sure to read any official UC email going to you, whether it's from the bursar's office, our office, or anywhere else here on campus. You've got to check that UC email address because that's where official business is going to be sent to you, whether it's paying your bill or there's a travel advisory warning you about going to certain countries overseas. Don't be that student who says, well, I heard from my friends, but I don't really understand. You should be able to understand by looking directly at the email that we send to you. And if at any time you've got questions about what we send to you, give us a call, come by and see us, or send us an email. That's what we're here to do. And so with that, I'm going to transfer you back to Katie or Lori for our next segment of our orientation.
Okay, folks, we are going to transition into our second and final video, so give me a moment to work that out. Okay. James, Lori, Kelly, someone holler at me if this doesn't work for some reason.
The UC International website is filled with tons of resources and information about your visa, the university, and more. If you ever have
Is the sound not working again?
Katie, you can't mute yourself while
Okay.
thing.
Was wondering about that. Okay.
I
will
learned that recently.
I will go back a little bit. There we go.
If you ever have a question or want to know where to go, consider our website your first stop. However, much of the way you'll interact with our office involves using our online system, Icats Global. Up until this point, you've probably been using the limited services. Now you can use the full services for students and scholars to submit e-forms, make requests, and more. Now, let's hear from an international student about their experience working with UC International and their experience getting involved on campus.
Hello everyone, my name is Devan Saxena. I do go by Dev. I am a third-year mechanical engineering student, also pursuing my MBA through the Ascent program at the University of Cincinnati. I came to UC for multiple reasons, one of them being the co-op program. The co-op program gives you a chance to get real world experience while applying all the things you're learning in class to different workforce situations. So I'm currently on my second rotation with Toyota, where I do get to apply a lot of things that I've been just learning in my classes, such as machine design and statics, vibes, and things of some sort to my current co-op. UC provides several different resources for co-op specifically. I actually landed my co-op through the career fair, which is something UC CES Tribunal hosts every semester, where multiple different hundreds of employers come and talk to different UC students, just asking about their experience and if they would be a good fit for their company. And throughout this process, if you have any questions about how to obtain your CPT, or if you're allowed to work for 40 plus hours, or all those specific work questions, always reach out to UC International. I promise there are a bunch of nice people who are willing to help you out. I believe that getting involved on campus is an investment for yourself and for building your future for multiple reasons. As an international student, when I first came here, it's hard to leave your friends, your family, and pretty much everything behind in your home country and starting fresh. For some people, it's easy. For some people, it's difficult. By really going out there, getting involved, you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And by doing so, you can make friends and memories that might last your entire lifetime. You can make those necessary connections that can help you in your professional and your academic life, as well as your personal life. I am an IPAL, and IPAL stands for being an international partner and leader. I got the chance to interview to become an IPAL my first semester in college. I believe that I made one of the best decisions I could when I came to college, because I found some of the best people to work with. I get a chance to network and talk to a lot of different domestic and international students, and attend numerous different events that IPALs host for the UC population. So that might be doing Salsa on the Square, going on UC International's retreat. I went kayaking, there were different games. We did karaoke, playing sports, all that good stuff. So overall, iPals is one of the best student groups to join on campus. And I know I might sound a little biased, but at the same time, I promise you it's a very good decision for your.
Okay, so that was a fun video. That music cracks me up. But moving on. So we work, minus James, we work with James. We work in UCI International Services. So we're here to provide social and academic support so that you can have a more kind of holistic, positive experience at UC. So the programming team in services includes myself, Kelly, and then Lori, and then we also have 2 graduate assistants. So we communicate with you about events and whatnot through social media such as Instagram and Facebook. Get Involved UC, which is a website that lists a bunch of different student organization activities, and also the UC International Weekly Newsletter. So if you aren't following us on social media, we recommend you start that today. The weekly newsletter will show up in your UC inbox on every Tuesday of the month. I oversee mailing the newsletter. So that newsletter will include any potential immigration updates, any sort of UC international event listings, as well as maybe some different campus and community opportunities. And those campus and community opportunities will appear on the first newsletter of each month. So each week, we encourage you to read over thoroughly, learn about some new events. We do advertise events and whatnot there, and they do tend to sell out fast if there's tickets for that. So events, workshops, meetups this summer, everything's going to be in person. We're fully functioning in person. Information on how to attend different events and access resources will be shared via social media, Get Involved UC, and the weekly newsletter. In the video, Dev mentioned a student group, International Partners and Leaders, also known as IPALS. So that is a student group that includes both domestic and international students, grads and undergrads. And IPALS will be at hand on the events that we put on to extend kind of a peer-to-peer welcome, and they are also available for any questions. So if you want to maybe get a student answer about what life is like at UC, they're a great resource. You can reach out to them. And you should be able to identify who is an IPAL with their shirt and their smiling faces.
UC International also focuses on providing academic support for international students. So I serve as the academic support liaison for UC International, and I can help you get connected with your academic advisor or your professors. And I also provide academic workshops on topics that you might be unfamiliar with. I can also connect you to various campus resources to ensure that you can be successful academically at UC. Again, we would like to encourage you to reach out to us with any questions and remind you once more how you can get in touch. So our office is open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. And we are located in Edwards Center 1 on campus, up in Suite 7148. We also will post our phone number again in the chat. And again, you can always email us at international.services@uc.edu, which we also have in the chat. And finally, our website has a lot of different information about a lot of different things, and it's always a really great resource as well. So we will also post the link to our website in there.
All right, I think we're to the question and answer session of this presentation. And feel free, if you have a question, to pop it into the chat. I think we've got a few questions here that we can run through. James, what happens if my visa expires while I am inside the US?
Sure. So if you're talking about the visa stamp in your passport, that's allowed to expire. It has no relevance of how long you can stay in the US. That's your I-20, which is your permission to stay here. And so if your visa stamp expires, that's great. That's fine. But at some point, if you're outside the US and you're trying to get back into the US, that's when you'll need to make arrangements during your trip to go to a US embassy to have a new visa stamp put inside your passport.
And so what do I need to do if I want to go home and come back to the US?
Okay. So start off with Icats Global. There's an e-form in there called Travel Signature Request. Submit the travel signature request when you have made your travel plans, and we will issue you an I-20 with a travel signature and send it to you via email so you can then print it and sign it using blue ink. And then you're ready to go. And so then when you leave the US and you want to come back, the assumption being that you have a valid passport, a valid visa stamp, and you have your I-20 signed for travel, and they'll let you back into the US.
Great. How do I get a new I-20 if I change my major?
Great. We have another e-form in Icats Global, and it's called Change of Major. And so just submit that e-form with the details of your new major, and we'll go ahead and issue another I-20 to update that new major.
How do I get a social security number?
Well, the first step for that is to find a job on campus. Once you find a job on campus, we have some information we need to process to make sure that you are in the UC payroll system. And that begins with an employment e-form located in Icats Global. And as part of that process, we will note whether or not you have a social security number. If you don't, part of the approval process will be some documents as well as instructions on how to apply for a social security number.
We have a question in the chat here.
Okay.
Do we need to take the mentioned vaccines and TB screening before arrival in the United States, or will the university provide all the vaccines for us after arrival on campus?
Okay. So the university wants you to get these done before you arrive in the US, before you arrive on campus. However, if you're missing one or two, or if the TB screening wasn't quick enough or is not going to take place quick enough, UC can handle some of those vaccination requests for you, along with the TB screening. But preferably, you should get as many as you can done before you arrive on campus. But if you're missing one or two, the health center can set up a time to meet with you to get whatever you're missing fulfilled so you are fully covered.
Do we, Katie, pop the University Health Services email address if you can find it into the chat for the students. And what do I do if my local address changes?
Okay, so you'll log into Catalyst, which is the UC system that keeps all the information about you, your grades, and everything else. And in there is an option to update your address. And there's two sections there, one for permanent address, one for mailing address. If you're changing your US address, please change the mailing address. Don't change the permanent address. The permanent address should be your address overseas where mom and dad or wherever you live when you go home outside the US.
All right. What if I'd like to get a driver's license while I'm here?
Well, that's certainly a good option for you. And so if you decide you want to get an Ohio driver's license. We have a letter that you'll need in order to take to the Ohio driver's license office, and that's also located in Icats Global. Submit that request and enter the details that we need. Takes us a couple of days, and then we'll issue you a letter that you can then take with you to the local Bureau of Motor Vehicles. They'll need to see your I-20, your passport, your visa stamp, and this letter in particular. They're also going to want to see a couple of pieces of mail that have been mailed to your address here in the US, proving that you do live in Ohio. After you show all these documents, then they will start the process of either having you take a test, which most of you will have to take a test to pass. And then once you pass that test, they'll issue you an Ohio driver's license. We do have some books available here in our office that go over the rules of the road here in Ohio so that you need to be aware of so you can practice for the test. And once a semester, our office does provide some driving instruction with a fully qualified driving instructor here in Ohio. And spaces are usually like 20 spaces at a time. It's around $300. Is that right, Lori?
It's about $350 now.
$350, but this is half off what you can expect to pay for the same training off campus. And so it's quite a deal that you'll spend a Saturday getting some classroom instruction, and then you'll have a few hours of practice instruction in a car with the instructor. And so it's a pretty good deal if you're feeling a little bit nervous that you've never driven in the US before. So we do offer some guidance on that.
Yeah, and it's $350 total, but a student would be required to pay $175. So apologies
sorry.
for the,
Yes,
if
that's
there
good.
was confusion about that. A student has a question about taxes in the chat. I'm an international PhD student in cancer and cell biology. How much tax do we need to pay on our stipend?
Okay, so taxes are complicated. Unfortunately, it's not a flat tax, which would make life a lot simpler for everybody. And so what I will tell you is this, is that when you do your onboarding through our office, you'll be given instructions on how to apply for a Social Security number. Once you get the Social Security number and you bring that to our office for updating in the payroll system, you will then get further instructions on using a software product called Sprintax. Now, when you don't worry about remembering all this right now, it will be in writing to you via email when these processes take place. Sprintax will calculate based upon where you're from, what kind of funding you're getting, how much the funding, and all these other parameters. And it will then print out some forms that you'll need to fill in and sign and send to our tax office here on campus. They will then adjust the taxes you should pay on your stipend going forward here at UC. If you want an estimate, I would say anything between 10 and 30% will be deducted in taxes. And taxes can be everything from local taxes, federal taxes, and state of Ohio taxes. And so if you're looking for an estimate, 10 to 30% is probably what I would estimate at some point. But a more accurate figure won't be known until after you fulfill the paperwork and send it to our tax office.
Super. So Katie, how do we make friends on campus?
Oh my goodness, Lori, that's a great question. So my biggest advice for you would be to get involved. And I know that that might be something that's not a priority for you if you're really here to just focus on getting your degree, getting out. But really getting involved is going to mitigate a lot of stressors. If a lot of students go through homesickness, there's a whole cycle for that. And really to help mitigate that, my advice would be to get involved. So one of the websites that we mentioned earlier was Get Involved at UC, I believe is the name of it. And that is a great website to learn more about some different student organization options. So if you have a specific interest or a certain identity group that you want to find a student group to join, and I'm going to put that in the chat here. This is a great way to do it. All of the officially recognized UC student organizations are listed on here, and you can find more information on how to learn about their events and contact them and whatnot. Similarly, one such group that we've talked about a little bit previously is the International Partners and Leaders group, or the IPALS group. And that's a really great group of students. We do a lot of different events with IPALS, and IPALS support a lot of our bigger events that we do, iPals events are open and free to everybody. And so we actually have a very robust kind of event calendar planned for this summer that's out, I believe, now on our social media and is going out through the International Student Newsletter weekly. So if you're looking for something to do on an off day, or you want to just have an opportunity to meet people, expand your social network, that is going to be a great opportunity. And really, I think getting involved socially is one of the best things that you can do for yourself as a college student. Just take advantage of all of those opportunities. And if you ever have questions, feel free to direct them to our team as well. We'll give you some pointers, give you some ideas for what you can do. We have a few questions here in the chat. I'm going to go ahead and answer the one about the bus and shuttle cost. So how much does the local monthly bus or train pass cost in Cincinnati? Also, is there a shuttle service all over campus? So there is a shuttle service that goes all around campus, and there are a number of different routes that service around campus. I am trying to figure out the name. So there is an app that you can download on your phone called Translock. I'm going to put the title in here. Translock. And so you can download that onto your phone. There is a bit more limited route options in the summer, unfortunately, but there are a number of routes that go around campus to campus that you can use, and those are 100% free for international or all students, not just international students. And you don't have to show any sort of card. You just wait at the stop, get on, get off when you want. If you are trying to go beyond campus, there is the transit, the UC public transit, and there's an app, which I actually use because I use the bus. It just says transit on my phone, so that's not very helpful, but it is this little squiggly guy. So that is a great app that you can use to take the bus around Cincinnati. That is you pay well, you actually have a few options. I typically pay by the ride that I do, so every time that I ride the bus, I'll buy a new bus pass. You can also buy a monthly pass. And there's actually a UC Transit program, I believe. I can't remember the name of it, but I'll put that in the chat when I'm done. That gives tickets to UC staff and students for half off. So, for example, one bus ride is typically $2, but if you register for an account on this app with your UC email and you submit the form to have it registered, you'll be able to purchase just a $1 ticket, and then you just show your ID at the bus. So that's how that works. There is a train station at UC, or not at UC, in Cincinnati. Trains, I'm just gonna put this out there, are not the most robust or great systems in the US. It's unfortunate. Your main forms of transportation are gonna be car, bus. Long term, there's like Greyhound buses and whatnot. Plane is gonna be a big one. So I will go ahead and put in the pass details for that. But we have another question about immigration. I was deferred from summer to fall semester. Do I have to resubmit my immigration documents?
Well, to that person, if you should have an I-20 already for summer, if you're coming for summer. If not, I recommend you send me an email with your details so I can take a look at your record to see what's going on with your particular scenario. And my email address is typically very simply james.tenney. You'll see my name spelled out there on the screen at uc.edu.
All right, thanks, James. Kelly, what if I'm having some difficulties with one of my classes and need tutoring, or I'd like somebody to review a paper I've written? Are there some resources for that?
Yeah, if you need tutoring, we have somewhere on campus that offers tutoring services. And so you can go there for peer-to-peer tutoring and also academic coaching from other students. And for having papers reviewed, we have an academic writing center on campus, and they help review papers and they can, proofread and help you with the formatting of papers. And so I definitely recommend checking out the Academic Writing Center. And that's part of the Learning Commons, as the overall space on campus that has the Academic Writing Center, as well as the peer tutoring services and academic coaching.
Awesome. And if you guys have questions, Kelly is the person to reach out to about the Learning Commons, or other academic resources, other campus resources that you might be interested in. So feel free to reach out to Kelly for that. All right, I don't see any additional questions in the chat. I think we've covered a lot of information. A reminder that this session has been recorded and it will be on the website under the, I think, next steps, orientation and arrival section. Should be a link there that you can watch. It's also linking you to our YouTube channel, where you can also find the video. So thank you for your time this morning. We look forward to meeting you this summer. Again, we've got lots of events scheduled. I think next week I'm hosting a meetup to hang out in hammocks on campus. So if you feel like hanging out in a hammock and meeting some other students and enjoying, hopefully not a hatefully hot day in Cincinnati and hopefully not a rainy day, we'll be swinging in hammocks and visiting and hopefully getting to know each other and making friends. So let us know if you have any questions. We have put a lot of links also in the chat there. And again, feel free to reach out to us. Easiest way is international.services@uc.edu. So have a great day. Welcome to Cincinnati. And we look forward again to meeting you soon. Thank you.